Hey guys, so today was my fourth session, um, and I'm not feeling so great. Today was a little rough, and it just kind of goes to show that you really can't predict or expect what you're gonna feel like coming out of this thing. So this was the day 4 in my foundational series, and so from here in the next 2 weeks they're gonna check up on me. So they'll write me and give me some calls every couple of days just to check in, see how I'm doing, and I'll fill out sort of like a mood sheet. If you've been to any sort of psychologist or psychiatrist, you know what I'm talking about. You kind of just, it's just a way that they measure how your mood is. And then in 2 weeks, they will kind of reassess and see how things worked, if I'm doing any better, what improvements have been made, what has changed, and then going from there, maybe deciding on, you know, when to come back to get a booster infusion. This time, I went in feeling prepared. I had journaled a lot beforehand, which I think has been really crucial to this experience, is just journaling, just getting out all that gunk in your head onto the page so you can kind of move around a little bit more freer, and kind of, you know, make sense of things, I guess, in a better way. But so this time I journaled beforehand, and I actually went back to the first 2 sessions, the music and the aromatherapy I used then, because the third one, the last time in my last video, I think I mentioned this, that I tried to change the music and it was like this kind of weird violin music, and I just felt like, I don't know, like I had a real weird time with that. So I just kind of wanted to go back to see what would happen if I used the first 2, because I had left those 2 sessions feeling pretty good and really feeling at peace. So I went back to the old music, and that felt really comforting for me, and my intention again was freedom and peace. This past week I've been feeling extreme anxiety, like a 9 out of 10, and so this time before I went and actually did a little breath work. So breath work has been like so amazing for me, and sometimes I forget about how wonderful a tool it is. But today I did some this breathing exercise, and you can look this up. I don't even know what it's called, but I learned this in a Kundalini yoga class. You just breathe rapidly in and out of your nostrils, and you kind of pump your navel, so it goes like this. And you do, and it seems weird, counterintuitive, because if you have anxiety, it feels like that would absolutely send you into a massive panic attack. But for some reason, this helps me feel calm every single time I'm feeling panicked. You do it for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then you hold your breath for a little bit, and then you just relax and let everything go, and then I just feel so good and so soothed. So I did it a couple times before the infusion, just to see if that would make a difference. I went in feeling really good. The infusion started. Again, I can't, it's hard to remember things once you're done. And they do say that once you're done, the important things will stick. So you will be reminded, with whether it's like through your intuition or, you know, your soul or whatever you want to call it. And I've had some kind of thoughts pop up, like, oh yeah, that did happen. Like I remember that. But it's, again, a really weird experience. I didn't see anything. It's more like thinking and feeling like you're kind of at the center of this universe, and things are black and dark, but it's like shadowy, and things like move. And it's not alarming or weird in any way. I mean, it's a little weird, but it's not like uncomfortable, or it's not, you know, scary or anything. And then so today when I came out of that, it's a 50-minute infusion each time. This time I didn't have to jolt awake. I came out peacefully, and I really had time to just like settle, and I felt really strange afterwards. I felt like somewhat annoyed that I didn't come out feeling as blissful as I did the first 2 times. And I really need to just let that go and just know that every time is going to be different, because I'm really holding on to that with like an iron fist, and it's just really kind of getting in my own way. So just know that every time you do this, you're going to have a different experience, and every person's different too. You're all coming from your own different traumas and all your, you know, circumstances in your life. So inevitably it's, you know, everyone's different. So I came out, he's like, how did you feel? I'm like, I don't know, kind of at peace, kind of like a weird neutral feeling, like nothing's good, nothing's bad. But then 5 minutes later, I just started hysterically crying, and I don't even know where it was coming from. I couldn't even remember what happened in the session at all. And I did ask for guidance or something. So every time I begin, I ask kind of like my guardian angel or you know, spiritual beings to please show me what I need to know in order to heal. And I did get some answers and some questions that I wanted to try some more holistic way of healing mentally and emotionally through like plant medicine and doing more ceremonial types of things. And so I got that answer through this session. So that was really cool. And I think it really matters the way you kind of set yourself up to go into it. So like I said, setting an intention, visualizing yourself in a peaceful space is so helpful. Picking the right music that feels really calming and soothing to you, and the right smell that really brings you back throughout the entire session. Like I'll take a deep breath in, like probably halfway through, and I'll smell that aromatherapy, and I will just like, it just like makes me feel so calm. But yeah, so damn, I always forget what I'm talking about sometimes. I feel like my brain is a little scrambled. Sorry guys. Yeah, so I came out and I was feeling, you know, whatever, and then I started hysterically crying, and then the doctor was like, it's okay, this is natural, it's normal, you know, your brain is doing a lot of hard work. And that made me feel a lot better, because I'm like, okay, yeah, like my brain is doing a little hard work, and I'm doing a lot of hard work, so I need to be a little gentler on myself. I think a lot of us tend to really beat ourselves up and judge our experiences, and I should know it better, but for some reason it's really hard to let that go. So I cried for a while, and I just let it out, and I was like, it's okay, all right, I'm just gonna cry, like, so what? And then I journaled a little bit with some of the messages that I had received in my answers to the questions that I had wanted to receive, and I allowed myself to sit there. This time I brought my own aromatherapy, so I brought thieves oil, which is cinnamony. It's very cinnamony, cinnamon, that word. Cinnamon. Thieves, it's got like spicy, it makes me feel really grounded, and for me, sense of smell can really ground me when I'm feeling, especially I have PTSD, so when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, or I feel like, you know, I'm spiraling out of control, if I just smell something like incense, candle, aromatherapy, lavender, thieves, it just really gets me back down into my body again. So I really highly recommend that if you don't have it in your practice yet. I brought it along with me into the car. Another thing I really recommend, if you can, have someone bring you. Have someone you trust and care about, and that someone you feel safe with bring you and pick you up to bring you home. You can't drive for 6 hours afterwards legally, but they do say once you're cleared to go, you can take the subway home or get home yourself. I mean, I don't see how I would not be okay with that, because as soon as I got in the car, my partner is so just wonderful, and he's so supportive, and he picked me up. Well, he drops me off, he goes to do some work around the corner, and then will come pick me up when I'm done. Today it took about 2 hours. As soon as I got into the car, I just started hysterically crying again, like seemingly out of nowhere. I was just hysterical. And then I felt so much rage, and I felt so angry, and I literally almost punched the car, like the thing. And I like really, it took a lot to like, I didn't do it, and I was very proud of myself for, you know, having that sort of restraint, but I felt very angry, and I just let out this like guttural scream, and it just felt so good. And you know what, I didn't care, I didn't judge myself, and I'm like, my partner doesn't judge me ever, and so I was just like, I'm just gonna allow this to happen without needing to feel bad about myself for feeling this way. So I mean, if I had gone on the subway and started to feel like that, I just don't know how. I think that would have been not a great situation. So I really recommend if you have someone pick you up. Um, yeah, and even when I got home, I mean, I literally woke up, went there, did that, came home, and was so exhausted that I felt like I needed to lie down again. And I was so out of it that my partner actually had to make me food because I hadn't eaten all day. So it's nice to have someone there that can really help you if you need it. Also, I said this earlier in the other video, but I cleared my whole schedule for the day, and I'm so glad that I did, because I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to do anything. Like, I just feel like, meh, like, ugh. And so that felt good too, just to know that I didn't have anything that I needed to do. It just took up the last couple times. I always had things that I had to do after. I had to teach meditation, or I had to, do whatever. And this time I feel like a massive amount of weight has been lifted off of me because I don't have to do anything. And just being okay with the fact that, it's okay if today I just spend the entire day in bed and watch, cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies or something. Like, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's okay. I don't need to respond to anyone. I don't need to do anything. So I feel like that's a really great thing that I just took that off of my plate, because I really tend to just really pound the pavement with all the things that I feel like I need to do, and it's always self-imposed. So yeah, just being okay with not judging yourself over how you're feeling, and knowing that it's always going to change and it's going to shift. Tomorrow might feel worse, tomorrow might feel better. I don't know, but I'll check in and let you know. The one last thing that I wanted to sort of touch upon is my partner had shown me this this podcast, and I believe it's called, I'll write it in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe it's called the Plant Medicine Podcast. And she interviews this doctor, and shoot, I forget the doctor's name now, but I'll let you know in the comments, about having an integration coach. And so listening to this, I just felt like, I don't know, a kind of light went off, and I'm like, oh my God, you totally need an integration coach. Because when I'm kind of just I feel like I'm floundering around right now. I know self-care, I know what to do to take care of myself, but also she kind of touched on the point that you get these keys when you're doing any sort of plant medicine, ceremonial type of thing, like ayahuasca or mushrooms, or with this too, is you get these keys and you get these great insights that can really help your healing. And this happens actually in breath work for me as well. When I'm doing neurodynamic breath work, I'll get some massive just insights that are just blow me away, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm never gonna go back to the way I was feeling ever again, but inevitably you come out of it, and then the days go on, you're like, shit, I'm right back where I was. So I think with the integration coach, as she was saying in this podcast, this plant medicine podcast, is that you get these keys, and then you need someone to kind of help you fit the keys in to, living your daily life moving forward. So the integration coach will just really help guide you on what to do, and what to do with those insights. And I feel like I really need that right now. So I'm gonna look into this guy, and I'm gonna call him and see how much it costs, what the deal is. And they do, the place that I'm going for ketamine, they do they did talk to my therapist, which is really great. And I think therapy is obviously amazing. You still need to see your therapist, but if your therapist isn't, doesn't really know about this kind of healing modality, then I think you really need to find someone that can help guide you through this. Because right now, I wish that I did a bit more research and had someone set up so that I could have a guide telling me, okay, you experienced this, this is how you can use this in your life, this is how you can take action or not, or whatever it is. So that's my biggest takeaway from today's session and today. Please let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful in any way. I am going to continue to document, I don't know how often, but at least for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to check in and let you know within these next 2 weeks, they say you really will notice if the ketamine has worked or if it hasn't. I suspect it is, because I already do feel like there's a lot of things that have shifted this week, even though like I still feel a lot of anxiety. They also showed me that ketamine can also help with anxiety as well. And the doctor, he kind of described it to me. He's like, if there's depression, anxiety in the room, and then depression goes away, all you're focusing on is the anxiety, which makes so much sense. And I can really relate to that right now. My mood is great. Like I feel like pretty cool. Like I don't feel like sad, or you know, even though I cried earlier today, like I don't feel like my baseline was like, you know, normal person baseline down here is like where I feel like I would live. So I kind of feel like I'm like here now, but just the anxiety is kind of getting in the way quite a bit. So I'll let you know how everything else goes. Please feel free to ask any questions, and do your research, really. So like really research this thing. You can do this while you're on medicine, and that's why I chose to do this, because I want to do other sort of plant ceremonies like ayahuasca and all that kind of healing as well, but you're really not supposed to on medicine. So that's why I started off with this. But really do your research, have someone help you if you can, especially if you're not feeling good. It's really hard to kind of sometimes research stuff on your own, especially for yourself. It can be really heavy and taxing. So find someone that can help you, and research and look into the integration coach too, and also make sure that you have a therapist lined up after you're done, because really you need it. I think it's imperative. And luckily I do. I have an EMDR therapist that I'm working with, but I want an integration coach now too, and I wish that I had found this a couple weeks ago. So that's just my bit of information and my recommendation for you. I wish you so much love and joy and happiness, and I look forward to checking in and seeing all the comments, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm so happy to help in any way that I can. All right, bye for now, friends. Many blessings.